how I got to where I am now was when I started working with my hands more actively, like learning to work with my hands, but also and work physically, and learning how much I liked working with my hands and working physically. The sense of self that I have when I'm
Mm.
using these like spatial reasoning skills and making this thing work is like the best high that I know. My motivation to go into engineering over the arts was like very influenced by wanting to like work in a field that was making like environmental progress. Every step that I took in doing that or developing those skills, I think just like naturally pulled my interest towards design. But yeah, I did that for a couple of years, and then I did a couple of residencies, and that was like really, I went to the Center for Furniture Craftsmanship in Maine. I just like, I'm the people that I met there in that fellowship were wonderful and are still a part of my life, but also that like space and conversation really helped me start to reframe my understanding of myself, but also really see my like entire arc as continuous rather than like independent things that I had done and then stopped that were not related, which they like so obviously are. So I grew up in an arts community that I was surrounded both by like artists and craftspeople and like designer makers. I've always had that around me, which I think was really helpful. I mean, to me, this all ties together, but I'm always really interested and driven by this idea of like how we and why we connect to objects, how they hold or contain stories, and like what stories we overlay onto them, and also like the built environment and like intentionality of design and like those things effects on our like well-being. I think where design is going is really hard to answer for me
Right.
because the where the world is going feels really dark right now. I think
Yeah.
there's questions of like access and class and money there that are really hard to navigate, especially when you want to like design or make things. Yeah, so I mean, finances is one of them. Just like figuring out how I can make this thing work.
Mhm.
Working in like traditionally male-dominated fields. Where I am right now, like I'm really lucky to be where I am right now. It's women and queer heavy woodshop, and the community is really great and I love it. But you know, I still go to the lumber yard and like I'm like, oh, I forgot that people talk to me like this. And then I think like from a personal or like professional perspective, my like interest and insistence in trying to be in this intersection of art, design, and craft, and like not ever wanting to like pick a lane, but like do all of those things, either like all of those things in like one piece or different parts of my practice, and have that practice be like seen and received holistically as one cohesive
Mhm.
thing has always felt really challenging to me. My actual process really depends on the project. I think that I basically always start with like a lot of writing and sketching. Like I
Mhm.
believe in a lot of like volume and moving quickly. Depending on the scale of the thing I'm making, I try to draw full scale. And I've learned to really trust that because I think that we just like when you're drawing something smaller, you're drawing it on a computer, that like tangible sense of how big is this really? Is this actually like thick enough or strong enough? Just isn't
Mhm.
there. And that always brings revelations. For me, what like is always there and collaborative is community and like space, and that is part of like how I ended up in woodworking, or like what drew me there is the sense of generosity and community and support and like mentorship. That's like what drew me there here, what keeps me here, and like
Mhm.
what is very important to me to like pay forward and like perpetuate. So in that sense, like sharing like I especially ideas and knowledge and like know-how, information is always like I try to always be generous with,
Mhm.
or like talking problem solving, or like talking an idea through, and like even in the shop we have here for school, you know, like just constantly like showing your progress and like asking opinions, or like how would you do this problem solving things. That's a really important part of the process to me. Yeah. Okay, the first thing I wrote
I
down was try everything, but I'm adding to this after our conversation about myelin and snowhetta, apply to everything.
Oh, there you go. That
Yeah,
is a good.
apply to everything. Dig
Mhm.
deep, trust what you like. Like if you like a thing, you we feel this pressure to like veer away from what we like, or like try something totally different. And I think for me, most foundationally like valuable, important thing, or one of them, I mean, community, like finding mentors. Find mentors and
Mhm.
peers that like that reflect you, that like lift you up and support you, and that feel and are safe